You look around and wonder why the rich keep getting richer while you fight for scraps. Why, no matter how hard you work, you're still chained to bills, debts, and survival. It feels unfair, doesn't it? But here's the truth most will never dare say. Money doesn't obey fairness. Money obeys power. And power is always taken, never given. This is why you stay broke. Because you still believe in playing by the rules, in waiting your turn, in hoping someone will reward your effort. But the wealthy, they don't wait, they don't hope. They engineer wealth by bending people, systems, and even reality to their will. And if you don't understand the cold Machiavellian principles behind that game, you will always be prey, a servant to someone else's empire. What I'm about to share isn't motivational fluff. It's not another work harder, save more fairy tale. This is dangerous knowledge, forbidden even. The kind of knowledge that will make you unreadable, untouchable, unstoppable in the pursuit of wealth. If you master it, you'll never be ordinary again. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because once you cross this threshold, there's no going back. Most people think wealth is about intelligence, about luck, or about talent. But those are illusions. If they were true, geniuses wouldn't die poor and hard workers wouldn't drown in debt. Wealth isn't about raw ability. It's about strategy, cold, tactical, Machiavellian strategy. Money is not neutral. It's a weapon. In the hands of the weak, it slips away. In the hands of the strong, it multiplies. And this weapon is only given to those who can detach from childish illusions. That's where you begin, by breaking your old identity. You stop thinking like a victim of circumstance, and you start observing. Because the truth is, most people are blind. They're predictable, they're emotional. They don't see how they're being played in the money game. But once you open your eyes, once you watch instead of react, you start to see how wealth is really built.
Look at the average man. He works hard, he saves pennies, he plays by the rules, and yet his life is a cage, his labor enriching someone else. Why? Because he believes in effort, not leverage. He believes in fairness, not manipulation. He believes in appearances, not in power. That blindness is exactly why he stays broke. And that's where the laws begin. Law 1. Weaponize silence. Most people chase wealth by talking, by begging, by proving themselves. They show their desperation like a stench. But silence is pressure. Silence makes others reveal themselves. In negotiation, in deals, in opportunities, the one who can stay quiet bends the other side. Because humans hate silence. They rush to fill it, often with concessions, secrets, or weaknesses. The rich understand this. That's why they're calm in rooms where everyone else is scrambling. They don't chase. They let others bleed information and then strike. Silence turns you from prey into predator. Think about your last negotiation. Who spoke first? Who filled the uncomfortable pauses? Whoever did lost leverage in that moment. The wealthy have mastered the art of strategic silence. They don't interrupt, they don't defend, they don't explain. They simply wait, watch, and when the moment is perfect, when the other party has exposed their desperation, they move with surgical precision. But silence alone won't save you. Because even if you stay quiet, if your reactions are predictable, you can still be controlled. That's where the next principle comes in. Law 2. Become unreadable. Most people wear their emotions on their face. They broadcast fear, greed, insecurity like a radio signal. And predators pick it up instantly. That's why the wealthy manipulate markets, employees, even friends, because they can read reactions faster than the average man can think. If you want to stop staying broke, you must become unreadable. like a ghost. No one can sense your next move. When you remove emotional tells, when you master stillness, you stop being a pawn on someone else's board. You become the one moving the pieces.
Think about it. A man who cannot be read cannot be predicted. A man who cannot be predicted cannot be controlled. That man is dangerous. That man can't be trapped by advertising, peer pressure, or trends. That man saves money when others spend, strikes when others hesitate, and withdraws when others rush in. This is how empires are built, not by following the crowd, but by standing above it, observing, waiting, striking with precision. But here's what you need to realize. Every time you follow impulse, every time you react emotionally to fear or greed, you bleed power. And every time you bleed power, someone richer than you grows stronger. Because money is always moving. If it's leaving your hands, it's feeding someone else's war chest. Law 3. Predators' patience. Average people are impulsive. They chase trends, gamble on hype, rush to get rich quick. And in their impatience, they become prey for those who wait. The wealthy wait. They move slowly, strategically. Like a lion waiting in the tall grass, they don't waste energy. They wait for the perfect moment when fear grips the herd, and then they pounce. This patience is why they buy when others panic, why they hold when others sell, why they expand when others retreat. Their patience is a weapon, and if you learn it, you'll stop throwing away money on impulses and start capturing opportunities others miss. But patience requires discipline, and discipline is exactly what keeps most people poor. They want comfort, they want ease, they want the dopamine hit of spending instead of the cold satisfaction of control. Which is why the few who master patience, silence, and unreadability rise to the top, while the rest stay chained to their paychecks. And here's the darkest truth of all. Most people will never escape. They are too emotional, too reactive, too blind to play this game. They will live as prey until they die. But you don't have to. Because if you take these laws seriously, if you detach from illusions, weaponize silence, become unreadable, and master predators' patience, you stop being ordinary. You stop being broke. You start becoming untouchable. Law 4. The power of leverage.
Most people think wealth is created by effort. They imagine the rich work harder or smarter. That's only a surface-level truth. Real wealth is built by positioning, by standing in such a way that other people's efforts flow into you without them even realizing. Think about your job. You work, you grind, you sweat, and your paycheck is a fraction of the value you actually produce. The rest flows upward, silently into the hands of your employer. Why? Because they're positioned above you. They don't need to work harder. They just need you to work. This is the law of leverage. Machiavelli once observed, "The people are by nature changeable. It is easy to persuade them of something, but difficult to keep them in that persuasion." What does that mean for money? It means people's effort, loyalty, even their obedience is unstable. But when you control the system, when you create the position where their work must pass through you, their instability doesn't matter. You keep growing richer while they remain trapped. Leverage is why one landlord grows wealthy while hundreds of tenants pay rent until they die. Leverage is why one investor grows rich while thousands gamble and lose. Leverage is why one corporation extracts billions from millions of customers who keep buying even when they complain. And here's the cold part. Most people never think of leverage. They think of earning. They sell their time. They sell their labor. And in doing so, they sell their life. That's why they stay broke. because they trade in the only currency that does not multiply, hours. But the few who master leverage, they stop trading hours and start trading systems. They create positions where time, money, and energy flow toward them. They stop being workers and start being hunters who set traps. Law 5. Master the narrative. Wealth doesn't flow to the best product. It doesn't flow to the hardest worker. It flows to the best story. Humans are irrational creatures. They follow belief more than logic. And those who shape the narrative control the direction of money. That's why religions grow empires, why brands become cults, why politicians command millions of dollars with words alone. They've mastered the art of narrative, of shaping the lens through which the masses see reality.
And here's the secret. Narrative doesn't need to be true. It only needs to be believed. Once people accept your story, they will give you their money, their loyalty, their labor, sometimes even their lives. Average people resist this idea. They believe truth and fairness drive the world. But look around. Lies that are repeated loudly become reality. Appearances that are crafted carefully become truth. And the man who rejects narrative as manipulation stays broke because he doesn't understand that money always follows belief, not reality. Think of Apple. Are their products objectively worth the price? Rarely. But the narrative, the story of innovation, exclusivity, belonging, makes people line up, beg, and overpay. Think of luxury brands. A handbag costs $50 to make, but sells for $5,000. Why? Because they don't sell leather. They sell status, identity, the illusion of elevation. This is the law of narrative in action, multiplied by the law of illusion. If you want to build wealth, stop selling only what something is. Start selling what it means. Law 6. The art of substitution. There is a reason the poor cling to jobs while the rich build empires. It's not just leverage, it's the law of substitution. The weak always substitute labor for power. They think, if I just work harder, I'll earn more. But hard work alone is a fool's currency. The wealthy substitute differently. They exchange ideas for labor, influence for action, perception for reality. Consider this. One man digs a ditch for a day. He earns a wage. Another man organizes 10 men to dig 10 ditches. He earns 10 times as much and never touches a shovel. Who is smarter, the one who sweats or the one who substitutes? Machiavelli warned rulers never to rely on their own arms alone, but to use others whenever possible. Wealth follows the same rule. If you are always substituting time for money, you'll always stay broke. But if you substitute perception for value, ideas for labor, others' energy for your gain, money will flow to you endlessly. This is the uncomfortable truth. The rich don't work harder. They make others work harder for them. Law 7. The power of illusion.
People don't buy what something is. They buy what they believe it is. This is why a diamond, essentially a rock, commands fortunes. Why brands turn ordinary fabric into luxury. Why paper currency, worthless on its own, holds the power of nations. Money follows illusion. And the masters of illusion are the ones who grow wealthy. They don't sell reality. They sell the story wrapped around it. That's why some men sell courses on how to get rich without ever being rich themselves, and they still profit. That's why entire industries thrive on creating desire for things no one truly needs. Illusion creates demand, and demand creates wealth. If you reject illusion because you think it's dishonest, you've already lost. Because the world doesn't reward honesty, it rewards mastery of appearances. Even Machiavelli himself declared, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Appearances are power. Illusions are currency. And the man who commands them commands wealth. Law 8. Strategic exploitation. Most people recoil at this word. They imagine cruelty, injustice, evil. But exploitation in its pure form simply means identifying unused value and extracting it. The rich see gaps, weaknesses, opportunities, and they exploit them before anyone else. This doesn't always mean exploiting people directly. It means exploiting timing, exploiting fear, exploiting inefficiency. It means seeing where others waste and turning that waste into your gain. Take fear, for example. When markets crash, the average person panics and sells everything at a loss. The predator exploits this fear and buys cheap, multiplying wealth while others bleed. Take attention. Billions waste hours scrolling on devices. The predator exploits this by capturing attention with narratives, selling products, and converting distraction into income. Exploitation is not cruelty, it's realism. If you don't exploit, someone else will exploit you. That's why you stay broke, not because others are evil, but because you lack the coldness to see opportunities in the weakness of others. Law 9. The art of withholding.
The weak believe giving everything earns trust. They overshare, they reveal plans, they expose emotions, and in doing so, they give away their leverage. The wealthy withhold. They reveal nothing until it serves them. They master the art of partial disclosure, feeding just enough to create interest, desire, or dependence, but never enough to be predictable. Think of negotiation. The average man blurts out his price, his limits, his needs. The predator withholds. He waits, he listens, he calculates. By the time he speaks, the other side is already trapped. Withholding creates mystique. Mystique creates power. Power creates wealth. This is why the richest men often appear silent, mysterious, distant. They aren't hiding because they're weak. They're hiding because exposure is vulnerability. Now let's bring this into the real world. How do you apply this daily? In conversations, practice silence. Let them speak. Let them reveal. You're not reacting anymore. You're studying. Every hesitation, every contradiction, every emotional leak becomes data. In negotiations, your unreadability is your armor. You don't show excitement. You don't show fear. You don't show desperation. You wait. You let the other side expose themselves. Then, when the moment is right, you exploit. Withholding creates mystique. Mystique creates power. Power creates wealth. This is why the richest men often appear silent, mysterious, distant. They aren't hiding because they're weak. They're hiding because exposure is vulnerability. In business, stop selling reality. Sell illusions. Sell narratives. Craft appearances. Create desire where none existed. Don't just sell food, sell identity. Don't just sell clothes, sell status. Don't just sell courses, sell the illusion of transformation. Because in the end, people don't buy the object, they buy the story they tell themselves when they own it.
By now, you're starting to feel it. The shift. The world doesn't look the same anymore. You see people talking, begging, buying, reacting, and all you notice is weakness. They don't even realize they're being drained, harvested, played. You do. You've stepped outside the herd. Silence bends people. Unreadability shields you. Patience turns desperation into timing. Leverage makes others your resource. Narrative shapes belief. Substitution frees you from slavery to labor. Illusion multiplies value from nothing. Exploitation turns waste into wealth. Withholding protects your position. These are not tips, they're weapons.
dark, cold, precise weapons forged through centuries of power. And when you wield them, you stop being a victim of the money game. You become the game. But here's the final shift: identity. Most people live and die as prey, emotional, predictable, chained to hours, salaries, and illusions of fairness. But once you begin walking this path, you stop being like them. You become an observer, a strategist, a phantom in the marketplace. Picture it. While others stumble blindly, you walk with X-ray vision. You see their towels, their impulses, their weaknesses. And instead of joining their chaos, you watch, you wait, you move only when the outcome is already decided. This is what it means to be unreadable, untouchable, unstoppable. You're not chasing wealth anymore. You're positioning yourself so wealth chases you. And once you taste this power, you can never go back. Because at that point, you're no longer one of them. You've crossed into something higher, something untouchable. Now, here is your choice. You can let this video wash over you and then return to your old patterns, predictable, emotional, broke. Or you can take this as your initiation. You can begin applying these laws daily. You can stop reacting and start calculating. You can stop working for money and start bending money to work for you. If you're ready to walk further into this world, to sharpen your mind, to master power, to become untouchable, then this is your command. Subscribe. Not as a favor, not as a gesture, as a continuation of transformation. Because the deeper we go, the darker it gets. And once you cross that line, there is no going back. So the question is, are you ready to stop being prey and start becoming predator?
Type in the comments, "I choose power." Share this with those ready to transcend. Activate the bell, because your evolution has just begun.